Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with the crew.
I'm Nate.
Dave.
And today we're going to pull out our monster manual, go to 147, and talk about ghosts.
Because we're doing Dungeons and Dragons monsters.
Indeed.
Booyah! Or booyah!
Nice, Ryan would be proud.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible. So, alright, ghosts. 3 ways to go with a ghost encounter. It is a monster encounter, it is
An RP encounter.
An RP encounter, or it can be puzzle.
Oh, puzzle, okay.
Oh yeah, mystery, like figuring out how to get this ghost out of here.
How do we get this ghost out of here?
Yeah.
Who are you going to call?
Because they have unfinished business.
The cleric. What's he going to call?
I was going to call
Well, I would say that's more common.
No, call a cleric.
I would say the cleric might not be an RP encounter. It'd be like, boom!
I make you run away, and then
Yeah.
you're going to come back because you didn't really solve the problem. My God says leave!
So, ghosts usually have unfinished business. Completing that task will kind of, I'm thinking, release them from it. I mean, that's kind of... even in popular culture, that's kind of like the theme.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you have a ghost, you can use it... Like, you can use it, completely without using stats or anything. You can just be like, all right, there's a ghost, and it's there, and it won't go away, and it's doing stuff. And not only that, though, like, the ghost literally has the ability to appear and be completely immune to any attack you can do to it.
Lots of fun.
They can't harm you, but you can't harm them either. Mm-hmm. So they can just stand there and be spooky.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna be in the border between the ethereal and the prime, and I'm just here.
Or what if they do that, right? And you're trying to like make camp or something, and they just are hanging around and like, we're not going anywhere. Someone's gonna go to sleep, and we're gonna touch you. And so all right, one of the things I got to bring up though is the old school ghost of aging is back.
Yes.
Granted, you have to fail save by a decent amount. But if you do, or you get that critical fumble, dude, could you imagine critical fumble and be like, yeah, you just took double aging.
Oh, dear Lord. 2 die 4 times 10. Oh, my God. That'd be ridiculous.
That would be hilarious.
It's like, all right, well, your race only lives to 80 years, so don't roll poorly.
Yeah. You just withered and died. Well, and then the other thing, too, is I don't think it's anywhere in this edition, but, before you used to get... Your age would affect your stats.
Right.
Your physical stats would deteriorate and your mental stats would increase.
Right.
Well, that's also why like a staff of withering was like so awesome for a dragon, because aging a dragon so if you really want to mess with your players, have a dragon that's like a young dragon or adult dragon that's in the middle of a fight and have some ghosts show up. Have him flump its save, and boom! Oh, it's now ancient.
So Dave and I were talking about the
stats,
the stats earlier before the video, and there's a couple of races that have a low life expectancy, and Thrycreen was one of those that was on the top of my list, and I think they only live like 30 or 40 years, so. You could totally have a Thrycreen just like, oh, well, he falls over dead because it's stretched out. He rolled a 4 on the die. All right, that's 40 years. That's past what you can live. Off you go.
Have fun.
Well, and
wishing
then,
him back
the
to
other
life.
problem is like, if I'm going to use a ghost and I'm going to use aging as basically an attack, a penalty, then I absolutely want to give them the downside of being old.
Absolutely,
I want to attack their physical stats and go, oh, but you didn't actually get to live through the experience of getting old.
You don't get the mental.
So you don't get the mental.
Yeah, you just get deteriorated.
Yeah, you just get arthritis, essentially.
And that's the kind of the more old school way of thinking. Back in the second edition where it had that aging chart. It's like if you're aging through magic, you're not living through it, so you don't get anything mental, but your body has gotten older, so you do have to suffer that that ugly penalty.
But even if not, like, so you're playing a game, you figure most of your characters are like early 20s, and like even okay, so you're dwarf and you're elf, it's not really that big a deal, but you're human or you're half elf, and all of a sudden you're now 60.
Well, yeah. While an elf might start his career at 60, he's not a kid anymore.
Well, when your lifespan is measured in hundreds, the tens aren't aren't going to be as drastic.
Right.
Correct.
You know, if you have an elf that can live to be 1,000, add in 40 years to it, well, sucks. Isn't like the human where you just aged away, you know, 3/4 of their life.
Right.
So yeah, we've only really touched on one of their abilities, though.
Well, and
that's
that's just their look. I mean, that's just like
yeah. If you fail by a bunch, you know, they if you pass your save, no big deal. If you fail, you get scared.
Yeah, and if you fail by 5 or more, you get aged.
You get aged.
Yeah.
I focused on that because it was just a really cool old school thing
yeah.
from back in AD&D. They brought back it. You know, they got rid of it in 3rd. You know, it was just probably like, you know, ability damage or something lame.
Not aging the character to death.
Yeah, aging the character to death is special in my opinion. The other thing is ghosts get a ton. They get a ton of resistances.
No. They get a ton of immunities. That's the cool thing. They're immune to cold, necrotic, poisoned, charmed, exhaustion, frightened, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, restrained.
Well, they get a lot of damage resistance too. Pretty much everything.
Yeah, anything they're not immune to, they are resistant to. So, except for magic weapons, that is basically...
And slashing from non-magical weapons. They resist bludgeoning and piercing. So
no, bludgeoning, it's bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen.
That's how the English reads there.
Sorry.
Go ahead, tell them about the comma.
I don't need to go into the Oxford comma right now.
Hit him with the Oxford comma. Go ahead.
Boom.
So, okay, all that aside, right? Those resistances don't even matter if he possesses your barbarian.
That's right.
But a smart ghost waits until your barbarian's already raging.
Absolutely.
So the ghost doesn't get access to any of your cool stuff of your class features or anything like that. But you know, it's still it just got a meat shield that happens to be one of the party members that they're not going to want to really hurt. So the party is probably going to whittle down one of their own to 0 hit points and knock them out.
Meanwhile, the barbarian is trying to whittle the other ones down too.
Well, yeah, but you know, for real, and by you know, so me and Ted were talking about. We interpreted like if you're the barbarian and you're already raging, we feel like if the ghost then possesses you, you're still raging, so they can use that.
Absolutely.
I would say so, yes.
You know, but they can't activate the rage as a ghost.
But if you're already mad, it's just taken over your body. So it's already in that state of, you know, heightened attack and...
Yeah, as long as he doesn't spend a round not attacking, you're good to go, so... Come here, mage! I got a rage to maintain. Yeah, so... Which also has a recharge of 6, so... They brought that over for 4th edition. I like that where they actually... The monsters in this edition have a chance of reusing their special ability instead of it being once or twice a day or whatever. You just... And you know, you just never know as a player if their special ability is going to recharge or not. Mm-hmm. It may never come back into play, or they may get to use it every single round.
So it takes over the barbarian beats up the mage. The cleric forces it out of the barbarian. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are no chumps. They do a decent amount of damage. And, you know, it's necrotic.
Always fun.
They're undead. That's thematic. So, all right. So we talked about what the ghosts can do, what they are, but what about how do we use them? I mean, we opened up with that a little bit. Mm-hmm. I know that, you know, one of my early encounters I put together for one of our most memorable groups was an encounter with a ghost. Mm-hmm. And, you know, basically it was a couple and they had to be laid to rest.
Right.
And, you know, really, there was no combat, there was no attacks. The players had to solve a puzzle, basically, right. A riddle, and figure out what it was these ghosts wanted. And they just wanted to be laid to rest together. So proper burial.
You actually, with that one, the ghosts didn't talk. You only did verbal gestures. You know, like...
What's a verbal gesture?
I don't know.
Sorry, is it like a metamagic feed or something?
I misspoke myself. My apologies. You just communicated through gestures and you know through
you verbalized their gestures.
Yes, that's you know, and through the looks on their faces.
I know Goblin Nerd's going to give me a hard time again for messing with you.
So you know, so I was the cleric in that party. I was the undead hunter. You know, and it was about trying to figure out what this you know couple needed to have happen. So it was pretty fun encounter.
Yeah, because if you didn't fix the problem, they were just going to stare at you forever. You would never be able to take a pee in peace. Never. I hope you don't have stage fright.
It's gonna be a hard one.
Yeah, so there are ways beyond hit points to mess with your players.
Now, I could see using them in a more a horror game if it was like some kind of either victim or that is killed, or like some kind of psychotic person that was killed, and they're kind of like possessing people and either committing murders, or if it was a victim that was killed, probably perpetrating the act that was done against them against people that do it. So like maybe someone was abused and killed and no one ever found out about it, so they're like also looking for other abused people to possess, and then rather than them be another victim, they act out against their aggressors or something.
Nice, like the housewife that gets beat.
Yeah,
They possess her, and then she like murders the husband or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just like, oh my gosh, all these murders are taking place, and it's all happens to be women that were it was known around town that they were roughed up by their husbands. And then the husbands end up, like in the sausage or something, or something terrible, like, or just dead in the street somewhere.
Well, I also like the idea that like you can really build tension and suspension with the ghost monster, in the sense that they do have that ability to appear without and be immune to harm. So like and you
just never know when they're going to hurt you,
right? So if they keep appearing and it's a horrific image, and maybe the image changes and it's horrific in a different way every time. If for some reason they have to stay in a haunted house overnight, or maybe they have a rich uncle or it's going to leave it to them, but the only way they get it is they spend the whole night there, totally Scooby-Doo them or something,
Right.
And you could spend a lot of time doing stuff like that, and then having the ghost mess with them through the entire night before they ever really get to do the encounter.
Right.
Maybe just before dawn it actually strikes. Or after they've just gotten through another encounter, and then the ghost shows up.
There's no poltergeist in the Monsters Manual, are there?
No, there's not.
So there's no variant for ghost that I see, but you could absolutely have a magical or psionic.
Of course, he's got to say or psionic.
Or psionic, yeah.
Well, I said magical first.
We know
But you said
psionics
or
doesn't
psionic.
edition. It doesn't exist in this edition, Nate.
Okay, so psionic magic effects, whatever they call
Yeah.
the illithid's attacks. So you could have that kind of telekinesis or some kind of, I was going to say ballistic attack. But
Well, heck, even like just mage hand. Like
mage hand.
Just
That could move. That could do the work pretty much.
Depending on what it is you're trying to accomplish or what you're trying to do, but you couldn't like attack someone with mage hand, but you could push a bowling ball down the stairs.
Yeah.
The guy in my game
Or
last
like
night was-
tap and rap against things. You could do poltergeist-like activities. Moving a candle flame.
Hand grenade.
The guy in my game last night used mage hand to try and poke the creature in the eye.
How'd that work out?
Oh,
he was using it as a distraction so that he could get advantage. I let it go.
I poked him with.
Does he happen to be? Does he happen to be the class that gets that as a specific ability, being able to distract
Arcane
somebody?
trickster.
Oh, okay, he was that.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, they
Yeah,
get
he
that
gives some
ability.
leeway.
So it was pretty cool.
So okay, so all right, the haunted house, you could definitely run a mystery with the ghost that's possessing people, and retribution. We've talked about how to use them as a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much we kind of fleshed out the defleshed ghost. There's a lot of good stuff you can do with this one. I like the flavor that they gave the ghost in this edition. If you had to do like an out of the box kind of thing, you guys think of anything off the top of your heads that the way to use the ghost that your players just wouldn't totally not be expecting?
Having it be a party member who's been killed, and it's it's
Ted, fuck you. Varys has already been a blood zombie 6 times. You do not need to fight Ghost Varys now.
I'm not gonna.
So what were you going to say about it before he went all Varys hate on you?
I was going to say, that you could have it be a ghost, and have a fallen party member be a ghost, and whatever kind of quest or thing that the character wanted to do. It could be tagging along with the group, to kind of harass and deal with situations.
Kind of like get back on. Gotta do this.
And constantly as a reminder, like, hey, this was supposed to happen. This was gonna happen. And if the party isn't really interested in fulfilling that goal, it can be like a constant nuisance.
They'll never wake up again without their shoelaces being tied together.
So there's that angle, and of course, yes, if you didn't decide to turn him into a monstrous blood zombie instead, then it could totally be, you've got, hey, you let me die. Why didn't you protect me? Why didn't you heal me?
Or if one of your players thunder waved them into a cloud of daggers spell, that might justify coming back as a ghost
or a revenant.
Set. Whoa.
This is a ghost video. This is not a revenant video, Nate.
We're not going all kinds of dark like that. But using either an NPC or a party member, someone that the characters are actually familiar with when it was alive as a ghost,
rather than encountering it as the ghost and always as the ghost.
Right. Yeah, so that's an interesting way, because it's like, well, I knew you when you were alive, or you knew me when I was alive. Why am I this way? Maybe the ghost isn't aware of what's going on. Maybe
they might even not know they're dead.
Yeah.
So especially if it's newly ghosted, you could definitely do the that character appears and you describe them and you're like, it definitely is what's his face, and maybe you do the thing like they can't verbally communicate, and then. But they look solid. They don't always have to look like transparent or see-through. It's not until like they go to touch them or something along that nature that they realize that they're incorporeal. Which you could go one of two ways. You could be like they're hanging out on the borderline, the border of the ethereal. But I feel like if you do that, then they are see-through. Mm-hmm. But if they're fully here and you touch them, that could be like a withering attack against you.
Right.
That you perpetrated basically on yourself by touching them.
Mm-hmm.
And the ghost itself might be as shocked, and then that may be the first indication to the ghost that something's not right.
Right. It's like, how did you go through me?
Yeah, and then you kind of have to, as the player, have to unravel, oh, this is so and so, they're now a ghost, and so now has to come to grips with the fact that they're now a ghost.
What happens if they, let's say, like,
Nate's liking this.
I'm starting to think of, I always try. Okay, so you disintegrate somebody. Let's say they fail their save and they're gone, but they're still there. They just don't. It's like they've instantly become some kind of ghost. Maybe they're like really passionate or something about.
That's unfinished business.
Yeah, a serious unfinished business.
Like they were going to make potato salad because they never made potato salad, and they had to make the potato salad, and they're not leaving until they make the potato salad.
Yeah. I guess it could be if you were really passionate about that food thing. But yeah, let's say it's more something like perhaps the person that actually just disintegrated you killed your father or something, or burned down your village, or some other cliche way of being mad at somebody.
Fingers.
Yeah, he had 6 fingers, and yeah, exactly. So you're disintegrating the guy, and maybe it's like some kind of reason why he's there fighting this person in the first place.
He's either really passionate about someone who's got unfinished business,
and bam, you disintegrate him. His body turns to dust, but he's still there. So holding is all of his stuff, so it doesn't even fall to the ground because he's just been turned into a corporal. Like he's technically
his stuff got disintegrated.
Well,
but the incorporeal
magic items and a few other things don't get disintegrated. Magic items don't get disintegrated, by the way. Just let you know.
With my game, I disintegrate the magic items.
Yeah, well, Do you even give people magic items?
If I
heard
did,
that's myth of myths in your game. So, you're blasting this guy with a disintegration ray. Let's say he's got like a few magic items on it, and maybe like one of the only clues is that he's missing a few things. Well, I mean, he's obviously still alive to him, so he just goes about his business, and then he, might realize later he's like, he's not hungry. When everyone sits down, they're just like, I guess I could eat.
You realize you're opening this up to every single time a player dies. Can I be a ghost for this encounter?
Bah.
Yeah, you do it one time and then
do it when it matters.
Yeah, when it's fun.
Yeah, when it's fun. And so that would be like a good thing. I mean, the guy,
you could
play
it out. You could technically play it out until they figure out that he's a ghost.
Yeah.
That might be fun. The cleric kills you and you take damage. I mean, it doesn't really work that way anymore, but it would be fun.
Yeah, and maybe the withering touch isn't. Maybe you just feel cold, but maybe you have to like really want to to suck somebody's life force away or destroy them. To
Like in the movie Ghost, where you had to think of like violent thoughts.
yeah, something like that.
make it
You know,
happen.
to do some kind of damage. So maybe they're just cold to the touch, as if they like just got out of the.
Well,
out of the
I mean,
freezing
ghosts
cold
are
or
kind of
something.
incorporeal though, so like you're gonna.
Yeah,
But
I guess if
that's
you did
still
touch
like,
them.
but you know, so
Well, can you hold stuff as a ghost?
no,
Oh,
you
so
can't.
it'd have to be a special case
You
for
can
that
pass through
too.
stuff, yeah.
So you would drop all your stuff if you got disintegrated.
That's why you have all the stuff disintegrate, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, because it
appears
looks
on the,
like because then it looks like he's there with all of his stuff.
yeah,
It just happens to be that's all ghost. It's all ghost stuff.
yeah, it's all ghost stuff,
Okay,
which is like real stuff, only useless.
yes.
So, but yeah, and you could do stuff like if it's the fighter, maybe he makes sword attacks, and you know you just do the withering damage instead. I mean, it'd be kind of a pain in the ass for the GM to run it, but it's definitely doable.
I think it'll be short lived because there's eventually it's going to be like
The jig will be up, and then
Yeah.
it becomes an NPC instantly.
Yeah.
By the way, you actually died.
last session. Bum bum bum. Yeah, so I would say that would be a cool way. Disintegrate the guy, and then he's there and with all of his stuff, but not there.
Yeah, so you play for however long it takes everyone to figure out, oh, wait a minute, there's actually a problem here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, but, like, is that kind of like a dick move? Because then the player is like, I found my saving throw, but nothing really happened. That's so awesome. And then, like, they win the encounter, and he's feeling all good about himself, and, like, 3
Does the
encounters
high
later.
five?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Whoa.
Fist bump. Take wither damage.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, my God.
I don't know. I mean, hey, you can play your character for a little bit longer. It's something different than just being obliterated into little tiny pieces of dust. I mean...
I like it. It adds an interesting encounter, and then, yeah, I don't know. You could, like, there's a couple ways you could go with it. Maybe it instantly becomes a ghost encounter, and he tries to obliterate his old party. 'cause
Well,
he's
maybe he
angry.
goes into a rage at actually being dead and not being able to complete his task.
Or if it was a barbarian, and rage is natural to them,
Yeah.
but his mind's all clouded with being, dead and all.
Yeah. Newly dead, yeah.
Why can't I get angry?
It's so
Why
confusing.
can't I get angry?
Well, he can't angry. He just can't rage.
Yeah.
He just poke people.
He just horrible vicious somebody, like, the halfling or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that could be it. He goes to fly in a rage, but instead it's the horrific visage.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
everyone makes a saving throw. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, y'all just aged 50 years.
Little ghost has a temper tantrum, rage effect, and then bam.
Bam.
Everybody old.
So that's our ideas for playing a ghost and some different things you could do with it. But feel free to add your ideas in the comments below. And while you're at it, hit like, subscribe, and even share.
You can come check us out on Facebook.
Also join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.